Alrighty, John Turnbull here again, Powder Blue Sports, take 2 of the third game of the Elite Eight. And I'm going to did a few tweaks on the settings. Hopefully it will work. And we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and see what happens here. So, I started out with the TSA going to advantage going to San Diego State. So they got 10-4 of Wisconsin. So we started segment 1 already. And San Diego State is now leading 9-5 after one segment. So you didn't miss much. So we'll continue on here. Segment 2. Wisconsin has an offense 8. Offense 8 is an arc. They need that. Ooh, and they got 11 on the roll. Offense arc 11 is 14 points plus 1 is 15. Let's see if San Diego State can answer back here. They roll an offense 13. Offense 13 is paint. Score roll of 10. Offense paint 10 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So it is tied at 20. A fast start for both teams, which actually favors Wisconsin in this case. Offense 8 for Wisconsin. Offense 8 is another arc, and they got 12. Holy cow. Offense arc 12 is 15 plus 1 is 16 points. Wisconsin, after a relatively slow start, turning on the afterburners early. We'll see if they can hold on to that kind of pace. San Diego State with a defense 13. Defense 13 is also an arc off of the defensive column on Wisconsin's card. They roll a 10 for the score roll. Defense arc 10 is 12, plus 1 is 13. It is 36-33 midway through the first half. Ladies and gentlemen, could we have our first game with both teams scoring 100 points? Wisconsin defense 12. Nope, that's the free throw category, but they got 8. DF 8 is a 4, plus 1 is 5. And let's see if San Diego State can take advantage of that. They're rolling a defense 15. Defense 15 is also a free throw 4, so DF 4 is a goose egg, plus 1 is 1. So Wisconsin actually increases their lead to 7 points, leading 41-34. Offense 10 for Wisconsin. That is paint. 10 on the score roll. Offense paint 10 is a 9. They are out of adjustment points, so that gives them 50 going into the half, and we'll see what San Diego State can do before they head to the locker room. Offense 9 is an arc, but only 6. Offense arc 6 is still 10 points, plus 1 is 11. So they claw to within 5 at 50-45 at halftime. You can see the score rolls for San Diego State, 7 being the average. They got 8, 10, 12. Actually, that's not 0. 8, 10, 10, 4, and 6. So they scored 10 plus on 3 of their 4. Wisconsin with a 31-24 run in the two segments 2 and 3. So let's see if they can hold on to that slim 5-point lead as we head into half number 2. Winner of this game goes into the Final Four. Defense 3. Wisconsin defense 3 is an arc. And 8. Defense arc 8 is 10. So they're keeping up that 100-point pace. San Diego State with an offense 7. Offense 7 is paint. 7. OP 7 is 7 points, plus 1 is 8. And Wisconsin increases their lead by 2. They are up 60-53. Offense, 9 for Wisconsin. That is another arc. Holy cow. Offense, arc, 9 is 12 points. They're going to need those extra points because San Diego State has 4 more adjustment points remaining for the remainder of the game. San Diego State, offense, 10. Offense 10 is a free throw. Uh-oh. 8, OF8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And the lead is now 72-58 for Wisconsin with only 3 segments left to play. Wisconsin, defense 14. Defense 14 is a free throw. 7. DF7 is only 3 points. So let's see if San Diego State, they're gonna need some big numbers here late. Defense 15. Defense 15 is a free throw. 6. DF6 is 2 points. They get 3. So they got 61. So no change in the lead. Still 14 points. Wisconsin lead with only 2 segments to go. Wisconsin rolling a defense 4. Defense 4 is paint on San Diego State's card. Score roll of 7, so DP7 is a 6. They probably will not hit 100 points, but still 81 with 1 segment to go is pretty darn good. Offense, 8 for San Diego State. That's an arc. Arc 8. Offense arc 8 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have a ball game here. They made up 7 points in that segment, and Wisconsin's up 81-74. Going into the last segment, Wisconsin rolls a defense 10. Defense 10 is a paint 6. Defense paint 6 is 5. So that gives them 86 points. So what I'm going to do here, since they are within striking distance, I'm going to take the score roll die away, and we'll just see what we got here. Going in, they roll an offense 12. San Diego State offense 12 is a paint. So looking on their paint offense column, they need 12 points to tie. They do have a 1 point, so they need an 11 for overtime, 12 to win the game. For San Diego State, 11 goes to overtime, 12 wins the game. Oh, and they get an 8. So OP8 for San Diego State is 8 points, plus 1 is 9. And a third straight frantic comeback in the Elite Eight gone awry. Wisconsin escapes with an 86-83 victory. So we'll put San Diego State in the loser pile. Wisconsin will now be the second Big Ten team in the Final Four, joining Maryland and Kansas. So let's play the final game, shall we? And this one features Duke and Rutgers. Let me get a new score sheet out here. All right. This is probably going to be the most lopsided game because Rutgers comes in as an 11 seed into this game. So this is the final entry into the Final Four. 1, 2, 3 for Duke, 4, 5, 6 for Rutgers for home field advantage. Rutgers really needs this. And it's a 4. Home field advantage goes to Rutgers. So they get their choice of their offensive calibration points of 7 or defensive calibration points of 7 for Duke. It's both 7. And Duke has to have the lowest between their offensive points of 6 and the defensive of 5, so they'll take the 5. And then TSA, or SRS, it's a 7-point difference, so we'll do a +4 for Duke and a -3 for Rutgers. So Rutgers has a TSA of 4, and Duke has a TSA of 9. So we'll annotate the TSA accordingly. And we are ready to go. The last matchup, the late night game, the 9:30 game, to see who gets into the Final Four. Duke rolls an offense 10. Offense 10 is paint. Paint 7. So OP7 is 9 points, plus 1 is 10. So Duke coming out strong. Oh, forgot to roll this one here. Offense 9 for Rutgers. Offense 9 is paint 8. OP8 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So Duke up by 1 after the first segment. And offense 9 for Duke. That is a paint, but only 3. So OP3 is 3 points, plus 1 is 4. We'll see if Rutgers can take advantage of this here as the 11 seed. They roll an offense 6, which is paint. 6, OP6 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So they take a 2-point lead on Duke, 16-14. Rutgers can ill afford to have any free throw categories if they have any inkling of wanting to win this game. Duke defense 12. Defense 12, is a free throw category of 8. So DF8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. That gives Duke 19. Let's see if Rutgers can extend the lead. They got defense 13. Defense 13 is a free throw category with 6. DF6 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And we are tied at 19 midway through the first half. Duke offense 9 is 11. Offense 11 is free throw 5. And free throw, OF5 is 2 points, plus 1 is 3. That'll give him 22. Duke comes into the game averaging just 82 points a game for only 70 for the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Offense 7 for Rutgers. Offense 7 is paint. Only a 4 for the score roll. That gives them 3 plus 1 is 4. Even though they got 4, Duke only had 3. So a 1-point lead for Rutgers as we near the end of the first half. Offense 9 for Duke. Offense 9 is a paint. 9 is 11, plus 1 is 12. And Rutgers rolls an offense 13. That puts them in paint with 6. OP6 is 6 points. And it looks like Duke will go into the halftime with a 34-29 halftime lead. Kind of hoping to get 3 Big Ten teams into this, especially having an 11 seed. Duke is the 1 seed. There's only one other 1 seed in the tournament right now in the Final Four, and that's Kansas. All right, let's start the second half here. Defense 11 for Duke. Defense 11 for Duke is a paint 7. That'll be 6 plus 1 is 7. And Rutgers defense 14. That'll put them in the paint with 8. So DP, let's see on Duke's card, DP8 is 8 points. So they make up 1. 41-37. Rutgers still holding tough. Only down 4. Defense 15 for Duke. Defense 15 is a paint. 7. DP7 is 6 plus 1 is 7 points. And offense 10 for Rutgers. Offense 10 is paint. 7 is 7 points. No change. Still a 4-point lead for Duke, 48-44. And there goes my tower. There we go. Offense, 12. For Duke, offense 12. Ooh, that's a free throw category. But 11. So OF 11 is 8 points. Plus 1 is 9. And Rutgers, offense 16 is paint with an 8. OP8 is 8 points. 52. So Duke holding a 5-point lead going into the last 2 segments. Duke has had 3 free throws categories, the only one for Rutgers, and that's what's keeping Rutgers in the game. Defense, 8 for Duke. Defense 8. Uh-oh, that's an arc. An arc 6. And that'll be a 9 plus 1. That's a 10-point segment for the Duke Blue Devils. Rutgers needs to do something here. Offense, 11. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a free throw, even though it's 10. OF 10 is 6. They're going to lose ground here. They're down 9 going into the final segment here. Offense, 14 for Duke. That puts them in the paint. 7. OP7 is 9. And they don't get a calibration point, adjustment point for the last segment, putting them at 76. So they need 16 points. So the only way that Rutgers can even tie the game is getting 16 points in the segment, and they would need an offense with an arc and a 12 roll. So let's just, for sake of argument here, any team that's from striking distance, this is what I do. So let's see what happens. Let's see what their category is. They roll a defense 10. Defense 10. Nope, that's a free throw. That's not going to do it. And they roll an 11. DF 11 is 7 points. So with that being said, Duke is your last team into the Final Four, joining Kansas, Maryland, and Wisconsin, beating Rutgers 76-65. So let's take a look here. I'm going to fill out the my bracket sheet. I'm going to move this aside here for a sec. So let me get my score sheets out here. All right, Kansas beat Creighton 72-68. So we got Kansas coming out of the Midwest as a number 1 seed. And we got Duke 76, Rutgers 65. So Duke will come out of the South as a number 1 seed. And in the East, Maryland just squeaked by Texas Tech 75-74. So Maryland will go in as a number 4 seed, and they'll square off against Kansas in the semifinal game. And in the West, Wisconsin beat San Diego State 86-83. So Wisconsin will go in as a 5 seed and will face Duke in the first semifinal game. And that'll be on a different broadcast, but there you have it. Kansas going in, they beat Boise State 93-61. They beat Auburn 70-64. They beat Arizona 85-65. And you just saw, previously, they beat Creighton to get to the Final Four. Maryland started out as the 4 seed. They beat USC 77-61. Then crushed Seton Hall 75-36. beat Richmond, who knocked out Dayton, the number 1 seed in the East. They beat Richmond 81-67, and they just got by Texas Tech 75-74. Wisconsin enters by beating Liberty 71-59. They beat New Mexico State 65-57. And then they beat 6th seed Butler. They walloped them they beat Providence 76-61. And then, as you saw, they beat San Diego State 86-83. Duke came in just sliding by Portland State in the first round by 6, 88-82. They beat Virginia 87-55 in round 2. In overtime, they beat Villanova in the Sweet 16, 87-86. And in the Elite 8, they got by Rutgers 76-65. So those are the paths for each of the Final Four teams. And within the next week, I'll have a broadcast to play the Final Four and the championship game.